Well, I'd like to welcome everyone back. And after you listen to the first two, it means a lot to me that you're back for the third ever podcast of the Stormwater Circuit Rider series. My name is Bill Hunt. I'm a William Neal Reynolds professor and extension specialist in the Biological and Agricultural Engineering Department. And we are recording this in beautiful West Raleigh. And many of you are probably waiting to hear my co-host, who's funny and witty and handsome. Of course, you can't hear him be handsome, but Mitch Woodward is out today doing grandfatherly duties. So I'm running solo, but that's okay. At least for me, it's okay. It's because I am joined by an alum of our team, Mr. Jason Wright. Jason is now a water resources engineer with Tetra Tech in the park, but prior to coming back to North Carolina, you did a lot of work out in California and in Texas, and you'll see where we're going here in just a little bit. But Jason, what might be one or two of your favorite memories from being at NC State?
Oh, there were so many. Well, first, thank you. I'm honored to be a part of your third ever podcast of the Storm Chasers. So I'm excited about that. But yeah, there were a lot. We had a number of boondoggles. I think we
call them team trips.
Team trips, right?
Yeah.
Team bonding.
Team bonding
trips.
Yeah.
Depending on who's financing those excursions.
It would be on gift accounts for all the people that are worried that are listening right now across the state. Like, are we financing this? No. This was some gift accounts. No state money went into our team trips.
There's no improper use of funds.
Not
on
at
any
all.
of those trips.
I almost hate that we're going here right now, but yes, go ahead.
Just to make sure. I think the last one, the camping trip to Cape Lookout, where it never got below 95 degrees, even at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
And yet we still had a campfire on the beach and roasted marshmallows.
Yeah, I remember a crab got roasted. It ran into the fire.
I didn't stop sweating for 3 days straight.
But I just remember the role that sand had in my life for the next few days.
The sand was interesting. But that was a phenomenal trip. We learned all about firsthand why we need to take care of our water quality.
Right on. Remember they had rainwater harvesting at the lighthouse too.
Yeah. Got to go up on the lighthouse.
It was cool.
That was a good one. I think the canoeing down the French Broad River. That's
right. I remember you
definitely a close
splashed me with a lot of water and knocked my glasses off my face.
Gabrielle Skipper in my canoe. And she believes in shock and awe. If you come at the G-Skip, you're gonna get
soaked.
Yeah, you're gonna get the paddle.
Well, for the rest of y'all, my glasses during that trip became part of the bedload of the French Broad River and are now located in some dam, I think, in Tennessee.
Yeah, we looked hard for those, but they were down the river before we could react.
Well, the reason we're glad to have you back, Jason, is because of a training that we have, and I say we, it really is you and NC State, Tetra Tech and NC State, have put together on construction of stormwater control measures. And so I just want to go ahead and just ask you, you've brought this to North Carolina from San Diego and San Antonio. What led to the development of this storm? And we're not talking about sediment erosion control measures either. Specifically, you're looking at what?
The stormwater control measures for post-construction stormwater management.
Right.
So I think, as you said, right after I left NC State, I went out to San Diego for a little while. Was hired by Tetra Tech there, and there we worked a lot with several municipalities. So the city of San Diego was one of our bigger clients. We do a lot of work with Los Angeles, and initially starting there, wrote the LID manual for city of San Diego, ended up also putting one together for San Diego County. Right. So brought a little bit of that East Coast knowledge and experience out to the West Coast. And so through the course of putting those together, we developed some team implementation plans. We actually designed and implemented a green street in San Diego and Los Angeles.
Right.
And so through all of that experience, realized that we were seeing some of the same probably 2 or 3 issues with construction.
And so what are they? So basically when practices are going in, they're not going in as well as they need to. So what are these 2 or 3 issues that you see repeated?
So for the most part, when we were having contractors come in, they were used to implementing in streets. And so they saw the street part of the RFP that went out. They missed the green part of the RFP. And so they're used to compacting the soils, developing that subgrade and subbed for the streets because you don't want your street sinking or settling. And so they were taking very similar approaches to bioretention permeable pavement, over-compacting that subgrade where we want these systems to be able to infiltrate. And so that's the compaction of the subgrade and of the soil media is one of the biggest issues that we see when these systems end up eventually failing.
And so what I'm hearing you say is that when you're building a bioretention cell, which is a vegetated media, that the contractors were coming in and they were laying it to waste.
That's
meaning compacting it to
with the same type of methods you would with a street. That's great for a roadbed, not great for permeable pavement. And so they're either driving over them with their compactors or using the jump and jack type of compactors that you see. And so that was a big issue.
Yeah.
And then the other issue we saw was them delivering or using improper materials. So we were getting
such as
the crush and run or the ABC stone,
right,
like you would use for the subgrade or subbed of a street, using that for either the drainage stone,
right,
or
and that's a problem
area,
because
or because of the fines that are in those.
The dust,
they're either a pollutant source or they end up clogging that system, and so that stone, it's great for the roadbed again because it's structural, it holds the weight, but the fines that lock together, those end up causing those systems not to be able to infiltrate.
Right.
So that's a big issue. So the drainage stone or the structural layers for those systems was an issue, or things like using a media that have way too high of organic materials in that media, sort of flushing through and causing a lot of pollutants in our either infiltrating into the ground or coming out of the under drains.
Right. And do they monitor in the West Coast like they do here?
They do. There's quite an extensive monitoring. So a lot of the monitoring so far has been done more at a watershed level to inform the TMDLs and other watershed master plans that are being developed. But the BMPs that we've designed so far have all been monitored.
Right. Well, tell me a little bit about the training proper. Where was it first developed by Tetra Tech?
So the first place we did that was for the San Antonio River Authority. So the first few were in Texas. Yeah. And so they were just beginning to implement their program where they're requiring green infrastructure. So I believe their MS4 permit for that region was requiring the use of green infrastructure or LID techniques. And so San Antonio was trying to begin to implement the process for making sure these systems are properly designed and constructed. And so a lot of conversations with them, they were aware of a lot of the issues of green infrastructure and the construction. And so we took those lessons learned from other areas in the Southwest and lessons learned from the East Coast. And seeing those same 2 or 3 issues recurring regularly and put this training together based on the experience that I had working for you and all the practices that we put in around North Carolina. So for the most part, the proper way of implementing green infrastructure and low impact development. For the most part, there's always lessons to be learned on any project, but so a lot of lessons learned from that, years of monitoring those projects and those systems, as well as some of what we had seen on the West Coast, lessons learned from there as well, and put together the training. So it's a combination of how things should properly be implemented and constructed, all the way back from the planning, thinking about, we talked about one of the biggest issues is using the proper materials. And so soil media is not always readily available, or at least a media that meets the specification. So topsoil, it's not your typical topsoils, it's a specialized engineered media to make sure we're getting the proper infiltration rates and we're not exporting pollutants like nitrogen and phosphorus in the effluent of these systems. So it could take a while to find those suppliers.
So what practices do you think are most apt to be improperly constructed?
So I think that is looking at the ones that are most commonly implemented. So bioretention and permeable pavement are the two
most frequently used and therefore most frequently messed up.
Right. They're the most versatile. You can put them in a wide variety of scenarios and configurations, and so those are the two that we see being implemented the most. And so just odds are those are the two we see with the most issues during construction.
So if people are interested in this, we have developed a training course. We're actually going to be offering a third one tomorrow. By the time you all hear this, of course, it will pass, but tomorrow in Charlotte. We have a couple more that are planned. Do you want to state where they are? Do you remember?
So it's May 14th, I believe, in Fayetteville.
Okay.
I'm not 100% sure about that date.
But it is in May.
It is in May in Fayetteville, and then July 24th at the Arboretum, right?
At the Arboretum in Raleigh.
J.C. Ralston Arboretum.
Right. All right.
Yeah,
so
right next
door. A couple more
to
opportunities for people who are, there's about 7 or 8 people that are probably listening to this. and they may, want to come and check out and actually meet the Jason Wright. The participants that have come, you had some feedback with them. I mean, what have they expressed to you? Is there anything particularly they like about the workshop, or anything they're particularly learning?
I think what we've heard the most, and most of the people who have attended so far a lot of them have worked for municipalities around and they're the actual inspectors who are going to be in the field. So they're trying to learn what to look for. And then a few others or the managers of the people who are doing the actual inspections, as well as some of the local designers that are trying to learn about these issues, and other people who might be constructing these systems. So we've had a pretty wide variety of people who have attended, and for the most part, what we've heard is people do appreciate the practical experiences that we've had. So there's a lot of photos from our experience in the field. So it's real applied, actual examples of sometimes what went right, and there's plenty of examples as well of what to look for and issues that we've observed. So I think that a practical application, people do seem to appreciate that.
And do people seem to like the test that's given at the end?
Well, I think most people have passed the test, so I think that would probably mean that they would like it. Of the 70 who've taken it so far, the 4 or 5 that did not pass probably didn't appreciate the test. But I think the other 65 or so, I think, were okay with it.
Are fans. All right, well, that's perfect. Well, Jason, I really appreciate you coming by and sharing this. And just to again repeat, if anyone is interested in this, it's called the Construction of Stormwater Control Measure.
It's the Stormwater Control Measure Construction Inspection Training.
There we go. So what it is, again, is looking at practices that are post-construction and making sure that they get built right.
Yes.
And so if anyone's interested in that, we have at least 2 more offerings, and if it continues to sell out like the first 3 have, then, well, we'll have even more.
And you get that certificate that's certified by Bill Hunt.
Yeah. And that's what you're probably dying to get, right?
They're experienced and know how to construct these systems properly. So that's
fantastic.
That is definitely something you can put on your resume.
That's awesome. All righty. Well, Jason, thanks so much for stopping by. It's always good seeing you.
It's great to see you too.
And I would like to, as always, thank Simone Keith, who is our technical director. Always does a great job. I appreciate you keeping me in line, Simone. And today, instead of me going ahead and saying, we're always happy when it rains, I'm going to go ahead and let my children close the show. Hit it, guys.